Now happiness is another thing that we always think it is something outside. We have to get happiness from outside, which is another unfortunate thing. So no object in this world can be dubbed as a source of happiness. No object in this world can be taken as a source of happiness. If there is one object, all of us can contact that object and get happiness. If there is any one object, it is not there at all. What do you consider as a source of happiness is looked upon by another man as a source of sorrow. And again, what do you look upon as a source of happiness today may be looked upon by you tomorrow as a source of sorrow. And it all depends how you look upon a given object. And that object seems to give me happiness, like even a dog picked up a bone, as the story goes, a dog picked up a dry bone and began biting this bone. And as it was biting, so from its own mouth, because of the dry bone, so it injured its mouth, and out of the wounds, its own blood was coming. And the dog licked the blood and took the bone for meat. Hey, meat. I don't know whether the dog would do that, but anyway, so he took the bone for meat. I asked the dog, I say, what were you eating? Meat. Meat. Did you eat meat? Yes. How? Because it had a lot of blood in it. How is that? I tasted blood there. How? Because before I began biting the bone, there was no taste of blood. Or you see the argument? Before I began biting the bone, there was no taste of blood. After biting the bone, there was a taste of blood. Therefore, the blood must belong to anything that I was biting. Bone, it doesn't know. And therefore, anything, before biting the thing, there was no blood. And after biting alone, I had the taste of blood. Therefore, it should be meat. Exactly like this. I wanted something. That something, I got it. When I got that, there was a clearance in me. I was happy. Before experiencing the object, I was not that happy. After experiencing the object, I became happy. And therefore, happiness should belong to what? Should belong to the object. The difference between the dog and the man is, when the dog suffers, he is taken to a vet, and this fellow suffers, he is taken to a general physician. That is the only difference, because the logic is the same. The logic is the same in as much as, well, he says that before the arrival, in the wake of the experience of the object, I got happiness. And therefore, happiness should belong to the object. If it belongs to the object, whoever comes in contact with that object should find happiness. You yourself should come into contact with the same object again and see whether it gives you the same happiness. No, it doesn't do. Your experience proves that. Therefore, the same object which gave you happiness before doesn't give you now because your mind has changed. Therefore, what is the content of a thing? Suppose you want something, and now this one thing you have been eating, suppose. So you want this particular thing to eat for a long time, and you got it. When you got it, oh, fine, beautiful and all that, it gave you a kick. Some happiness, some pleasure. Not happiness, some pleasure. The second one, the same thing. A repetition. Second one was given, the same thing was given to him. Second time, okay, it's fine. Third time, thing remaining the same. The fellow, if he's a glutton, he may accept 10 times. The same thing. 10 cakes, okay. So 10 of them he accepted. The 11th one, he says, no, I am not interested. Why, keep it there, we will see tomorrow. Today, why? No, I can't stand it. Why? Because it is not the object. If in fact, you know the law of diminutive utility. The first one gives you a kick. the second one little less, the third one still less, the fourth one still less, the fifth one still less, and the 10th one, you can't stand the sight of it. Take it away. Why? Suppose the 10th one had come first, you would have accepted it, is it not? Not the 10th one had committed any sin. It is the same as the first one. But then the 10th one, it doesn't give you anything. First one gave. Why? Not the first one is better winged than the second one, the 10th one. It is the same thing as the 10th one is, but then you wanted it. There was appetite in you, and therefore it gave you a kick, all right. But then the object itself doesn't have any content of happiness. You know this very well at home. When the mother cooks the food and one fellow jumps, oh, today he's very happy. The other fellow is depressed. Did you do that? Now you can understand from this very clear. The object itself has nothing to do to make you happy or anything. But then you want something, and that want is fulfilled. There is a clearance in you. The want is no more until you pick up another want. The want is cleared away. The mind is free, and you find a joy for it. And at that moment of happiness, the object is not. Much less, you are the one, you remember, I am so and so, now I am enjoying it. You are not there. In fact, if it is a one complete flame of joy, in that flame of joy, the enjoyer is consumed, the enjoyed consumed, the enjoyment itself is not recognized. It is only what remains is I myself become a flame of joy, where all differences seem to resolve. The experiencer and the experienced, the enjoyer and the enjoyed become together. When there is such a unity, when there is such a consummation, where differences resolve, I find there is joy. What I wanted is no more separate from me, and therefore the wanting man and the wanted object, as long as they are separate, there is pang in your heart. The heart burns. It wants, it pants for it wants. It longs for the object because it looks upon the object as something that is very important for my being happy. And the object is gained. No more I am a seeker with reference to that object. The seeker sought come to be one. The mind is no more projecting, and in that resolved mind there is a joy manifest. Belongs to whom? Not to the object. Definitely not to the object. But belongs to whom? Belongs to myself, please. I am happiness. I am joy, which is not granted a chance to manifest itself in my mind. When the mind gets the clearance, the joy manifests itself. And there I say I am all joy. And again the projecting mind, the wanting, longing mind, the imputing that happiness to an object, it again projects that I want that again, because it knows not I am indeed what I seek. The fullness of the joy that I seek is myself alone. The mind doesn't know, and therefore again it wants to gain the same happiness. For once you have experienced your height, you would definitely you would make an attempt to reach the same height, as I told you before. At moments of happiness, I become all happiness. A man who wanted to just to see something, and he go to a temple, and a Hindu, he wanted to go to a temple in Badrinath, and he went to the temple. When he went to till then it was a great separation between him and the Lord. He wanted to see the Lord in the Himalayas in that particular shrine. He was a great devotee. And he got to Badri, the place, and then when he saw the Lord, he closed the eyes, and then the Lord disappeared. In that particular form, the Lord disappeared. And himself, I am a devotee who has come here all the way from the south and things like that. All his weariness and his tiredness, all these things are forgotten. What remains is the seeker sought consumed into one of fullness. That fullness alone remains. No difference remains. Therefore the Lord seems to have become the very fullness that he was seeking for. when the seeker and the sought become one, you find that there is joy. That joy is not born out of an object outside. It is a condition I grant within myself, in my mind, which does not deny me, which doesn't deny me the joy that I am. Like even I see the sun, now I don't see the sun. Why? Because a patch of clouds. This patch of clouds seems to now cover the sun. The sun seems to have disappeared, and a fellow cries and he says, the sun is gone, and I don't know where is he gone. Will he come back? This fellow, for SO1 also, he cries, sun is gone, my son went to the school, never came back, I don't know what happened to him, kidnapped perhaps because there is a scare now. And therefore, kidnapped, thus he is, now for this son also, SUN, and his fellow cries now, though sun is gone, what will happen? Will he come back? I don't think he will come back. Why? He's completely gone, he's not there at all. Then he prayed to the Lord, oh Lord, minus sun, without sun, how we are going to live on this earth? Please bless us with the sun. He has gone away somewhere. Please bring him back. Then there was a kindly breeze, and the sun came back. And he said, well, the Lord came in the form of breeze and caught the ears of the sun and brought him back. The sun was brought into being by the wind. Is it true? Is it true? The wind brought the sun into being. Will you accept? No. But the wind has made me see, helped me see the sun. In which way? In which way? In the sense, it removed the clouds. The cloud was standing between me and the sun. The wind came and removed the clouds. I had clearance. I saw the bright sun. In my mind there is a cloud of desire. In the fulfillment of the desire, in the wake of the object desired, achieved, the desire cloud moves away. I find the sun of joy manifest. And again the projecting mind projects. It seems as though myself, the Ananda, is gone somewhere. That is the reason why my being Ananda, or the joy, or fullness, when I go to sleep, I discover such a great joy or happiness. Everybody is interested in deep sleep. Nobody is disinterested, please. That is why they sleep all over. Not in the bus they sleep, in the car they sleep, in the office, of course they sleep. And everywhere the fellows sleep. Do you know why? Do you know why? Because sleep is a field of a happy experience. I give you the logic. Logic is, a man makes lot of effort for getting into something, gaining an experience in which he expects to get some kick, some pleasure. You will never make a deliberate effort to get into a field of sorrow. This fellow drives 10 miles in a car to what? To get himself whipped by somebody. That fellow gives every day 25 lashes. So for these 25 lashes, to get the 25 lashes, he went driving and came back. Is it true? Nobody makes an attempt, a deliberate effort to get into a state where there is unhappiness. Man is an utilitarian. He means business all the time. And he wants to get into always a state of experience wherein there is some kick, there is some pleasure, there is some happiness. Now please see this man who goes to sleep. Very elaborate arrangements he makes. The bed must be pakka. The light must be the right one. Everything, the height of the pillow must be the same. And everything is all spick and span, everything is fine. Then he goes to sleep. Why? Because I want sleep. and for which all these arrangements are made. You see that fellow making his bed and things like that, his own bed, suppose he makes, please see him, how carefully he makes everything. Because it is something like, when you go to the kitchen and cook and things like that, what for? To eat, have the pleasure of eating. Similarly, this fellow, so he makes such elaborate arrangements, takes so much pain to see everything is fine so that he can sleep. Therefore, the sleep should be a state of what? Sorrow. Happiness. Okay. In the morning, suppose there is a man is with a field of happiness, experiencing some happiness in listening to something, listening to music or listening to a commentary of the baseball. Suppose he is listening to that. Now this fellow, suppose you ask him to come out of it, he will not come. Or looking at a TV movie. A movie. He is just seeing the TV and now there is a movie going on. And this fellow, you ask him to come to eat, he won't come. Why he won't come? Because he has a kick here. If at all he says, all right, bring the food here. Why this I can't get away? See, where there is a kick is there, then he doesn't want to leave it. He is reluctant to leave a thing in which he finds a kick. And he is all anxiety to enter into a field in which there is some kick. This is exactly what it is. The man, when he goes to sleep, he is so very careful that everything is fine so that he can have nice sleep. In the morning, you all know it very well. Morning when this fellow wakes up, then afterwards it is a great war. All through your lifetime the war goes on. It is a great fight. Now should I get up now or not? Every day. You wake up first and then you think, I think another half an hour I think I can. So after all it's only 5 now. 5:15 is enough just to have a dash and then go. This is everyday affair. It is not one day, I tell you, everyday affair all through your lifetime. When you get up, you don't want to get up. Wake up first, get up later. In between, my God. He had good intentions. He told somebody, please just give me tea at 6 o'clock. That poor thing brought the tea. And this fellow at 6 o'clock, so since he had asked her to give tea, and he got up and he took tea all right at 6 o'clock, and then he closed the door, again went to sleep. We see this all the time. Because waking up is one thing, getting up is another. And in between, ages can go. And therefore, that means I am reluctant to take back the cross that I had laid down. When I enter into it, I am so very happy to enter into that sleep. When I want to get out of it, I am so reluctant to come out of it. That means that sleep must be a source of, a state of some kind of happiness. True it is. There is freedom from all limitation. There is a fullness. There is a joy in it. There is a known joy of everybody. And that fullness doesn't differ from man to man. Whether you sleep the most informed person, or the other fellow sleeps who is ignorant man, ignoramus. But both the fellows, when they gain sleep, both of them are one and the same. No division whatsoever. All forms of duality dissolve. In the deep sleep, differences, Bhagavan, myself, all Ishvara, Lord, all these things, all resolve into one state of experience, where there is freedom from all forms. Everybody is interested in it. That joy that you get there in deep sleep, from where did you get? From where did you get? Is it because of your physical body, so shapely, beautiful body that you have? Is it because of an experience of an object that you had? Is it because of your intellectual accomplishments that you found yourself happy there? No. You are dead to your body, you are dead to the world, you are dead to your memories, you are dead to your knowledge. You may be a great musician, all right, outside, but then in sleep you have no music, otherwise you won't snore that way. That snoring has no pitch at all. It says it is apashruti, it is called. Shruti just keeps on changing, krr, brr, and all that. It has no basis. But you tell that fellow you are snoring like this, he will swear, I didn't snore. No fellow says that I snore. Nobody says. Because when he snores, he is not there. And you tape record and tell that fellow, this is your snoring. Still he will say, this is not my snoring. It's all confused. Well, what I say? There the musician is no more a musician. And the Shruti, the Upanishad tells, Andaha anando bhavati. The blind man is no more blind. There's a beauty. It's a very nice way of putting it. The blind man is no more blind. Is it not true? In deep sleep, the blind man is no more blind. That I was blind previously, I don't know that I am blind now. Because everybody else also is blind there. And thus the blind man is no more blind. The rich man is no more rich. The poor man is no more poor. The fat man is no more fat. The lean man is no more lean. Then what is there? One experience wherein there is no duality. Advaita, this is called Advaita. Where there is no second thing at all. And thus this experience is something that gives me joy. Wherein I am with myself alone. I am not with anything else. I am with myself, even though I don't know. I am with myself. There is experience of myself in which there is a content of fullness. And this naturally, therefore, I love to have. And when I come back, I find that fullness is not found anywhere in myself. I begin searching for it naturally. Because that is my height. I know what it is to be free from all forms of limitation. And how am I going to settle for anything less? I am not going to compromise for anything less because I have seen my height. Every individual has seen his height. Nobody is denied of this fullness. And therefore, so this fullness is not something that is apart from myself. It is the very self, that is the very nature of myself. In my life I seek Ananda because I take myself to be sorrowful. And I take myself to be a sorrowful man, I begin seeking Ananda. And Ananda is myself. What I seek is only three things. I want to live a day more. I want to get rid of ignorance. I want to get rid of dukkha, sorrow. And what I am is, I am free from the hold of time. I am free from the influence of time. I am the content of time itself, which is timelessness. And therefore, I am free from mortality. And again, I am knowledge itself, because of which I know ignorance. And therefore, limitation of ignorance doesn't belong to me. I is free from ignorance and the objective knowledge. Therefore, I am free from ignorance, hence the limitation of ignorance doesn't belong to me. And I am fullness, and it is a fullness that escapes to my mind often. When there is no projection on the part of my mind, the mind abides in its own glory, and at that time there is fullness. Knowingly or unknowingly, whether I know it or not, whenever there is a clearance in my mind, I find some joy. And the fellow, being ignorant of himself, naturally wants to be happy, wants to be full, for he has taken himself to be a sorrowful fellow. Once he takes himself to be sorrowful, he would make an attempt to become full, for as fullness, he has the experience of fullness in deep sleep and at those moments of joy. Therefore, what I seek is what I am. What I seek is what I am. Therefore, I am Sat, I am Chit, I am Ananda. This is what they call Satchidananda. Understand? Satchidananda. Now, names people have got Satchidananda, ask them to explain what it is. Then you will find what it is. It is not something that has got to be seen. It is not, Sat is a word. Unless what it is unfolded, the Sat is not a word at all. Chit and Ananda. These are the three words that exactly reveal my nature. For three things I want to seek in life, all the three things fundamentally sought. Not immediate seeking I am talking. This is fundamentally what I seek in my life is indeed myself. If the fundamental problem of man is solved, then all other problems are no problems at all. They are all things to be faced, things to be tackled, because fundamentally I have no problem at all. It is something like a man on the stage retaining his self-identity. If he has to die, and he will die also there in the stage, that fellow, he has got a toy pistol also. And then he makes a big noise. He receives a bullet and then dies away. And then when the screen is up, the fellow gets up. When the screen is down, the fellow gets up. Because he knew that he didn't die. Otherwise, nobody will be the target of a shot, of a fellow shooting him. And because he willingly, I will die, don't bother. You please shoot, I will die, he says. So because he knows that he's going to get up. And this similarly, all problems become problems apparent. And therefore, none of them can really affect him because I is already released. Therefore, Bhagavan says, Arjuna, idaṁ śarīraṁ kaunteya, kṣetram abhidhīyate, etad yo vetti, etati this śarīraṁ, yaha vetti yaha janati, the one who knows, is called kṣetra-jñaṁ tad-vidaḥ. Those who know the kṣetra and the kṣetra-jña, those who don't confuse between the two, the one who takes the one as one, the other is other, and thus even though they are in association, is like even the iron ball which is red hot, you can say the iron ball is hot. Ayo dahati. The iron burns. Dahati means burns. Ayo means iron. The iron burns. So when the ayo dahati, when you say the iron burns, how can the iron burn? Well, iron burns. Then how does it burn? Well, the fire burns. He doesn't get confused. He knows the iron doesn't burn, but it is a fire that burns. And there, even though they are together seen, the iron and the fire, because the iron ball is red hot, both of them are together seen. The fire is not inside or not outside. It is all over the iron ball. But at the same time, he knows, even though they are together, it is a fire that burns, not the iron, please. And again, it is a fire ball. When you say, no, the fire is not ball, the iron is ball. And again, the fire is ball, then wherever there is fire, it should be in the size of a ball. But then the fire is not a ball, and therefore the weight of it belongs to the iron, the size of it belongs to the iron, the brilliance belongs to the fire, the heat belongs to the fire, and thus he distinguishes both of them and untakes both of them even though they are together. This is called viveka-jñāna. Knowledge of one thing, so where there are two things mixed up, then both of them should be separately known. And again they are together all right, but then separately known. One is one, the other is other. This is called viveka-jñānam, means a knowledge born of discrimination. There is a difference between simple knowledge and discriminative knowledge. A simple knowledge of a book is a book. But then if there is a confusion between one thing and the other, then when they are mixed up together, then if I separate them, analyze them, and then understand one as one, the other is other, even though they are together, and that is called discriminative knowledge. And here also he says, tad-vidaḥ, those who know the kṣetra and the kṣetra-jña, they point out that the kṣetra-jña, the I, the knower of the kṣetra, is indeed free from the kṣetra. He is the one who knows everything. And Bhagavan says further, Arjuna, understand, kṣetra-jñaṁ cāpi māṁ viddhi, sarva-kṣetreṣu bharata, so kṣetra-kṣetrajñayor jñānam, yatta-jñānam matam mama. Then he says, so kṣetra-kṣetrajñayor jñānam. So understand, Arjuna, so kṣetra-jñaṁ cāpi māṁ viddhi, sarva-kṣetreṣu bharata. Hey Bharata, Bha means Bharata means Bharat. Bharat is India. Bharata means Bha is this knowledge of Brahman is called, knowledge of Atma is called Bha, Prakashatmika Bha. So that which blesses you with knowledge, that is called Bha Brahma Vidya. And in that knowledge, self-knowledge, the one who revels is called Bharata. Arjuna, you have been hearing now, for the past these 12 chapters he has talked to him, and therefore you are reveling in this vidya, and therefore he addresses him, Hey Bharata, the one who listens to this vidya, to this knowledge, Hey Bharata, understand me, I am the one who is in all hearts. kṣetra-jñaṁ cāpi māṁ viddhi. So only one awareness that is there, because of which you are aware of your ignorance, your memories, your emotions, your sense organs, your body and my body, and the distance between your body and my body. And similarly, I am the awareness because of which I am aware of my ignorance, my knowledge, my emotions, my sense organs, my body and the other body. And therefore, behind these two bodies and space, what is there is one simple awareness alone. That awareness cannot undergo any division or any difference. And that, therefore, Bhagavan says, I am that awareness. The Lord says, I am the awareness in all hearts, which blesses all the heart and the mind, because of which the mind is mind, because of which the sense organs are sense organs, and itself is free from all of them, without which there cannot be a thought. Itself is free from a thought. And thus, I am the awareness in all. Bhagavan says, kṣetra-jñaṁ cāpi māṁ viddhi, sarva-kṣetreṣu Bharata. Hey Bharata, wherever there is kṣetra, a field of experience, there you understand in that every kṣetra, in every physical body, or in anything, well, what is behind the whole thing is kṣetra-jña, the awareness, the I. It is not different from one and the other. There is only one I that is there. It is a capital I, which has no gender, which has no number also. The I has no number. The I as a body, it has number, all right. But I as I awareness, it has no number, neither it has gender. This genderless, numberless I, that I is indeed that the kṣetra-jña, Bhagavan says, and therefore he connects now. If there is a Lord, he is the Lord. Krishna is considered the Lord. Now, if I am the Lord, and you are an individual, Arjuna is a simple individual, subject to birth and death, I tell you that I am the kṣetra-jña. Not only in my heart, I am the kṣetra-jña in all hearts. There is only one kṣetra-jña that is there. And all other beings, all beings have their being in I. That I is called kṣetra-jña, the awareness, which is at once Sat and Chit, limitless. This is what they call infinite, absolute, all these big words. And therefore, that which is free from all forms of limitation, and that is indeed the what. And here, that the what is being pointed out. So what do you seek? Sat and Chit and Ananda is indeed the what. Tattvam Asi. Like even that man told him, you are the 10th man. And that's how he made him recognize that I am the 10th man. Here the teaching makes the person recognize, I am indeed what I seek. Sat I want to be, Sat I am. Chit I want to be means I want to be free from ignorance. Chit I am, which is free from ignorance. I want to be free from sorrow. Ananda I am. The fullness I am, which has no lack, which in fact I am the one in whom the whole world spins. I accommodate everything. I lack nothing. In fact, if free from the world I am full. With the world I am what? I am incomplete. Free from the world I am full. With the world I am full bliss. With the world, therefore, a wise man is not afraid of the world, neither he is after the world, nor he is afraid of the world. The world he is full, the world is gone, he is full. Please, that is called knowledge. The man who is afraid of the world is another idiot, please. And he calls himself a very great fellow. No, I don't do this, I don't do that, I have drawn myself everything. This is another problem. Because world is a nightmare for him. And the man for whom the world is a nightmare, the bright, beautiful world is a nightmare. In fact, he is a fellow who has to be saved by a psychiatrist, not by Vedanta, please. And first he should be saved by a psychiatrist, if a psychiatrist is already saved. If he is... that general. Okay. Now therefore, please understand that the world is not a nightmare for a wise man, for I am full. With the world I am full, minus the world I am full. Therefore, yadricha labhasantushtaha, dundvatitaha vimatsaraha, pashyan, srinvan, sprishan, jigran, ashnan, gachan, swapan, shwasan, pralapan, visrijan, grinnan, unmishan, nimishan, napi, indriyani, indriyarteshu, vartante, iti dharayanni, Aham na kinchit karma karomi iti manyete tattvavid. It is said, Pasyanni, seeing, Shrinvanni, hearing, Sprishanni, experiencing touch, Jigranni, smelling, Grinnanni, taking something in his hands, and again Visrijanni, dropping things, walking, and even closing the eyelids, and again going to sleep and getting up. Walking, talking, in all of them, performing all the actions, the fellow knows, I am all the time full. And therefore a full man can perform any action. And again, if he need not perform action also, it is fine. Action is not bondage for him. Much less any knowledge any pursuit of knowledge is not bondage for him. The world is no more a nightmare for him. For whom the world is a nightmare, better he remains in the world and solves that problem first. Because the world is not a nightmare. As I said in the beginning, the nightmare is your mind alone. The ignorant mind is the nightmare. And therefore a man for whom some fellows are there who say we should dismiss all the thoughts. That means thought is a nightmare. If thought is a nightmare for you, you have to live with the nightmare all the time. Because thought will always be there one time or other. If you open your eyes, thought will be there. Because when you see anything, there is a thought. Anything you see, think of anything, there is thought. Therefore, this fellow has to give up all thought. And giving up of all thought, that is also a thought. That I want to give up all thought is another thought, please, a desire, please. Therefore, he is having a nightmare right inside. And this is called yogi. The yogi, one who is interested and who has got a nightmare inside all the time, is called a yogi, please. He can never get out of it far. A man who is afraid of a thought is a man who is not worth living at all. Because every thought is always a nightmare for him. Thought will be always there because the mind is there, it is nature, is thinking. And therefore this fellow has welcomed a nightmare right inside him. And he can't live for a long time. Even if he lives, he only drags his life all the time, hoping perhaps the nightmare will go. And this is the yogi. The yogi in the sense I am telling you, the fellows who think that the thought is something that has got to be destroyed. Thought is not to be destroyed. You need not destroy your thought. Thought gets destroyed all the time. It gets destroyed, new thought is born, it is gone, there is no problem. When I look at the stars, there is a thought in my mind. It doesn't create any problem to me. The blue sky doesn't create any problem to me. The moon, the flowers, the baby, all these have no problem to me. The people also cannot create any problem to me. All can be accommodated by me if my mind is free. But some I am able to accommodate, some others I am not able to accommodate. For I am hooked by my own likes and dislikes. And that is again because I take myself to be an empty fellow. And my heart is empty and bankrupt, and therefore I want to fill it up. And I think, but if I have this, I will be full. Therefore, definite likes. If I don't have this, I can avoid sorrow. Therefore, definite dislikes. And this bound by his own likes and dislikes, this fellow lives in a world of his own version. Not the world that is public. It's a world of his own private world in which he lives. And that world alone creates problems for him. And for the one who has made the world as public as it has been made, and for him there is no question of any sorrow. With the world he is happy, with the thoughts he is happy, without thoughts he is happy, all right. And such a person is called a wise man. Arjuna is told even in the beginning itself when he asked this question, he tells in Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha Sthita-prajñastadochyate. The one who is happy not because of anything. A man who is happy because of something, if the something goes away, his happiness also goes away. And thus this man who depends for his happiness upon million things, and that fellow is not going to be happy for. Things that you want are so many, and all of them you are not able to command. One can't command, and therefore even if you have all of them, they keep going away. In time is a great leveler, and therefore that time removes things, and therefore the fellow is left high and dry in the same sorrow that he started with. And again, things that he doesn't want, they also come again. You may not like a grey hair, but it keeps coming, what to do? And this fellow, grey hair, one hair appeared and he pulled it out. Second hair, he pulled it out. Third one, pulled it out. Afterwards, what will you do? And it keeps coming, and therefore he said, okay, chalo. And that's, he can't do anything. And therefore, a wrinkle that you can't avoid, you may paint your face, but wrinkle, you know it very well. So if it comes, it has come already. Means that time doesn't leave anybody alone, and it has to work. Its handiwork, it will always do. And thus, so that the influence of time is writ large on your face, on your body, and the time does its job, and therefore nothing is going to be permanent here. And this fellow thinks that these are all things should not come, they keep coming. These are all things that should be there, they keep going. And therefore his happiness also, the mercury of his happiness keeps falling, jumping up. One time it jumps up and then falls down. Jumps up, falls down. Morning he is happy and evening he is unhappy. And again the next morning unhappy, of course. When evening is unhappy, next morning is not going to be happy. Next morning is unhappy. And again evening is more unhappy. And again this is the fellow. But at least if he is consistently unhappy, perhaps he will commit suicide. But he won't. So now and then he will become happy. Therefore this fellow is like this. So the happy man is called a Sukhi in Sanskrit. Happy is Sukhi. And the unhappy fellow is called Dukhi. Sukhi, Dukhi. Who is this fellow? A fellow who is the Dukhi, 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 Sukhi, 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 Dukhi, Dukhi. That is all. Then only you can keep going. If he is completely Dukhi, no problem. He will die. If he is completely Sukhi, there is no problem. Whether he dies or not, it doesn't bother. But then, so this fellow, the fellow keeps going because Dukhi, 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 Sukhi, Dukhi, 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 Sukhi. That is the fellow. And Bhagavan says, the one whose happiness doesn't depend upon the presence of things and absence of things, the one whose happiness is tapped in himself, in the sense, in the recognition that I am indeed happiness, the vision is never lost sight of, and such a man is called Atmani eva Atmana Tushtaha. He is happy not because of any reason, because he is happiness. That is why if anybody is happy, you can't ask him, I say, why are you happy? Can you ask him? Suppose I am a happy fellow. If anybody comes and asks me, Swami, why are you happy all the time? So do you expect me to be unhappy or what? Nobody asks any question. If anybody is happy, you don't ask him. How are you happy? You don't ask him. The fellow is sorrowful, you go and ask him. I say, what happened to you? Why are you says? You don't for a condolence when a man is happy. It seems you have been happy. I'm so sorry to hear that. Nobody sends condolences to a happy man. But then, a fellow who is unhappy, of course you go and console him. For you seem to know, this man seems to know that a man's unhappiness is not something that belongs to him. It is an intruder. He is a foreigner who has visited your heart. And that fellow should be thrown out. And therefore, perhaps it is right for you to go and ask him and say, what happened to you? I share your sorrow. And that is the right thing to do. But if he is happy, you can't go and ask him, I say, why are you happy? You can go and ask him, I say, what is the trick of being happy? You seem to have something. And what is that something? Please tell me so that I can also be happy. That is fine. That is a different thing. But you can't ask him, why are you happy? If a man is healthy, you can't ask him, why are you healthy? Can you ask him? He will give you one because he's already healthy. And therefore, so you can't ask him, why are you healthy? You can ask him if he's not healthy. I say, what is wrong with you? You can ask him. Because the joy or fullness or happiness is the innate nature of man. And that is why he is always for it. He can't accept anything other than that. And such a man who discovers his happiness not because of the presence of things or absence of things, the one who is happy with the things, the one who is happy without the things, that man is likened to a great ocean, a Pacific Ocean. Unto that ocean, well, the rivers all enter, apuryamanam, achala pratishtam, samudram apaha yadvat pravishanti. Unto that apuryamanam, that ocean, which is something full and complete, brimful, unto that brimful ocean, and which enjoys oceanness. Oceanness is to be full and complete. Unto that oceanness, rivers all enter, apuryamanam, achala pratishtam, samudram, apaha yadvat pravishanti. Waters of different rivers go into that ocean, and the ocean doesn't overflow. Because of the entry of this water, the ocean became more oceanic than what it is. It is not so. The ocean continues to be the ocean. It can receive to itself any amount of water, cusecs of water. As they enter, the ocean receives all of them and still remains their ocean. And suppose you make dams all over and divert all the water for irrigation. Not a drop of water goes to the ocean. The ocean, what will happen to the ocean? Will dry up. Will it dry up? Because it doesn't depend upon the river flow for the ocean to be ocean. And hence, the entry of water makes no difference, the non-entry of it much less. Because the ocean is glorious by its own right, by its own might. It doesn't depend upon any other thing, external factor to be the ocean. Whereas the river is dependent upon the clouds. The clouds depend upon the ocean. But whereas the ocean doesn't depend upon anything. And thus Bhagavan says, Apuryamana achala pratishtam samudram apaha yatvat pravisanti tadvat kamaha ayam pravisanti. Whereas yam pravisanti, kamaha yam pravisanti, saha shanti mapnoti. How the ocean doesn't get elated because of the entry of water, how it doesn't get depressed also because of the non-entry of water. And similarly, the heart of a wise man, with the 5 sense organs, gates, the waters of the sense objects enter, the fellow is full, and with their entry he is still full, and with their non-entry he is not going to lose fullness. If a fullness can be lost, it is not fullness, please. Infinity cannot be in any way decreased. Infinity means it is infinity. Add any number, it is infinity. Minus any number, infinity it is. Why it is called, that is why it is called infinity. And therefore all your local mathematics doesn't work there. And this similarly, the fullness is something that is always full, and it doesn't, and you add anything to it, it is fullness, and you don't remove anything from it, it is fullness. And that is like the ocean. And whereas, for a contrast, Lord Krishna says in the Gita, for a contrast, na kama kami. Not that fellow whose happiness depends upon a million things. So this thing must be there, that thing must be there, so many things must be there, so that this fellow can be secure. And this fellow, any one thing goes away, now this fellow's heart is like a tank of water. A tank of water. Now if there are clouds, if there are the heavens smile, rains are more, then tank is not seen anywhere. Because everywhere water, the tank is underneath. The tank is not seen anywhere, the banks are broken. Because bunds are broken. Now the tank is not seen anywhere. Too much of water, no tank. Okay, no water at all. Again, no tank. If the rains are not there, well, once upon a time, here was a tank. Now what do? They grow cucumber. And thus you find, so pumpkin and things like that, and squash, these are the things that can be nicely grown there. Once upon a time, it was a tank, all right. And thus, if the clouds are not there, the rains are not there, the tank is not there. The rains are too much, tank is not there. When the tank is there, this is the tank. So similarly, who is this fellow? Samsari he is called. This man, if all the things that I want, they are all there, my happiness may be there a little. But then if any of them goes away, I am unhappy. Too much elation. He got it, he reached the ceiling. And that was last, he came back to the ground. One fellow received a lottery. He read in the newspaper, so a lottery number. So this lottery number was this J, some number, 5847890. So this fellow read the number, and that is his number. He was all elation. The fellow, he was so elated, and thus he said, did I get it? Had a heart attack. And died. 1 million rupees. Therefore, he couldn't even assimilate it. The heart couldn't assimilate it. 1 million. Died. Due to indigestion, died. And another fellow who could assimilate it. Because he's a fellow who had handled, who expected that. Okay, he could assimilate it, his heart was there inside. He got it. Today he got it, he was so happy he got it. And then next day, again in the newspaper there was a correction. So the correction, it is not 50, it is 40. Bas, last number. 40. That is the end of it. And this fellow, did I lose it? Heart attack. Again, one fellow is subject to elation and depression. This is exactly what ages you. The years can't age you. The years can age the body. The years and time cannot really age this man. Aging takes place because of this all the time inside, going up and down, jumping up and coming down. Elation and depression in between, frustration in between, sorrow. And this fellow consistently, this jumping about inside, and this makes him so weary, so tired. Even the fellow before he reaches 20, you ask him, how do you do? Well, in India, they've got a special answer for it. Suppose here at least you got an etiquette. If you say, how do you do? You say, how do you do? Because the other fellow doesn't want anything from you. He only said, how do you do? Bas. He doesn't want you to tell all your story because he has got his own story to tell. And therefore he doesn't want. You say, how do you do? How do you do? Bas. And you just expect you. There what happens? They don't know, these things. Suppose you ask him, how do you do? And he thinks that you are interested in his story. And he tells, the entire story he tells. See, my wife is admitted in the hospital. My child is not well. In the office there is so much work. I want to take leave, I can't take leave. What kind of life is this? I don't know why. He begins all that. That fellow has to catch the bus. And he only told you, how do you do? Just because he wanted to tell something to that fellow. Ask something, how do you do? And he wanted to catch, he says, stops there. And gives him his entire tragedy, the story of the tragedy. Fact, here at least you don't do it, but inside you know very well. If you get a chance, you will let the steam out. If you get a chance, let the steam out. But then, there at least, immediately they tell. If they can't tell everything, but at least one sentence they have got. How do you do? Getting on. Typical. Getting on. Pulling on. This is another one. Pulling on. Life is a rickshaw. A cart. Pulling on. Getting on. And there is an equivalent in all Indian languages. You ask that fellow in Tamil, how are you? And for that you say, Enappa eppadi? Edo nadakkurathu. He will tell in that. You ask him in Hindi, kaisa hai? Chalta hai. So he will say chalta. How it's going on, getting on. It all shows a sadness inside. There is a weariness. The life has become so weary. Living has become such a weary thing, tiring thing. All due to, I tell you, this inside jumping. It's not outside. You can live with a maimed body. You can live with a body with all its infirmities. And still there can be a happy, shining soul inside. And if only the mind has solved the problem, the man has solved his problem. And this body really is not a problem. The problem is only this, neither the mind is a problem. The problem is only error. The problem is ignorance, nothing more. And therefore this fellow taking himself to be other than what he is, and all the time wants to be what he is, and for which he goes about doing a lot of things. And all the things that he does only confirms his self-disowning and self-ignorance, until therefore he gets a master who makes him own up his own self and then releases him for good. And the man who came to him with all sorrow goes back with all joy, because there is nothing for me to lose. I didn't get anything new. I only saw myself. There is nothing new gained. Therefore, one can't say that, Swamiji, can I get it? I say, if it is outside, you can say, can I get it and all that. So if it is a mountain Everest that you have got to climb, then can I do it? Do I have all the resources? That is a question legitimate. But if you are already that, you can't ask me, Swamiji, can I get it? I say, you have already got it. There is no question of getting it. And therefore, it's a question of recognizing it. And hence, the easiest thing is to know myself. Because it is so easy, this fellow doesn't accept it. Swamiji, do you say this is so simple? Yes. What can I do? Truth is always simple. And bluff is always complicated. Think of it. Any bluff is complicated. Truth is always simple because it is truth. It doesn't have a second thing. It is always simple. And bluff, of course, there is no end for it. It is a complicated thing. Even it is always the same also. Truth is always the same. It is never different. Here is a glass in my hand. Well, from where did you get the glasses, Swamiji? Well, don't you know? From where did you get in your hand? I just thought of the glasses. I should have glasses. And the heavens, from the heavens it came down. One bluff. Then the second one is, it was there lying on the ground. I thought of the glasses. It just levitated and came to my hand. Second bluff. And this, I can bluff any number. It all depends upon how fertile is my imagination and how foolish are my takers, the people who listen to me. And so this you can keep on bluffing. There is no end for it. But the truth is always simple. It was lying here. I extended my left hand and picked it up. This is the truth. This is an eternal truth, please. In the sense, any time after 2 centuries, if somebody were to ask what happened on that particular day when he got the glasses in his hand, how did he get it? This is the truth. There is no difference, please. It is always the same. In the sense, truth doesn't change, doesn't differ. And it is simple truth. It has no complication if it is understood. And therefore, it looks so simple. And because it is simple, it's not that Swamiji, it looks so simple. It doesn't look simple. It is simple, please. It is simple. It doesn't look simple. If it looks simple, it may be complicated also. But then, it is simple. The simple is not the word. Where there is effort, there is simplicity and things like that are involved. Here there is no effort involved. And I am what I am. It is simple, all right, to lift this. Because it has no weight or anything, then it's very easy to lift. Simple. It's a simple act. But then, to own up myself, it is not even a simple act. There is no effort involved, not a dash of effort involved. It's a question of owning up myself in terms of knowledge. Simple is not the word for it. Okay. Day after tomorrow, we are going to the avenue of giants. You know that? Redwood. Here, the forest. So we are going there at 9:30 a.m. After breakfast, after the class and breakfast, we'll go there. We spend some time there and then some satsang. This question hour, we'll have it there. And then we'll have lunch there and then come back. They are making some arrangements for buses and all that. Please give your name also. Those who have not given their names, please give your names. So that we'll have the satsang there. Between 11 and 12 we'll have the satsang. And then we come back. 11 or 11:30 and 12:30 we'll have satsang. As soon as we reach there, we sit there and then our question answer session we'll have. And then after lunch we come back here. So give your names, please. Yeah.
What stanza are we on? Stanza?
Third one.
Thank you.
Yeah.